You do need to work hard for success. It just looks different than most people think. Hi, I'm Adam Lewis and welcome to Deer IQ and our High IQ video series. In this video, we're going to look at what I feel is the #1 myth deer hunters believe and why it's destroying hunts. And we'll look at what top hunters do and how you can do that too to destroy it. Before we do, a couple things real quick, especially if you're new here. First, you'll notice we have an IQ ranking system where beginner is 1 IQ, intermediate is 5 IQ, and 10 IQ is our advanced content. This is true for our podcast as well as our blogs and videos, so you can best get content to meet you where you're at. This is a 5 IQ video, and I think everyone will get something out of it. Second, I invite you to subscribe and check out all our other content, the videos, blog, and podcast. We even have a free journal that goes along with our curriculum-based podcast. If you take your deer hunting seriously and really want to fast track your growth, I invite you to check that out. And stay to the end because I have a few takeaways and challenges for you that I really think you'll benefit from. All right, now let's get to the #1 myth I think deer hunters believe. I've been chasing whitetail for over 30 years, and lately my thoughts have turned to my hunting journey and lessons I've learned through all that time. One of those biggest lessons, or more accurately described as a paradigm shift, occurred when I discovered what I call the hunt harder myth. Understanding this has completely changed the way I see whitetail hunting. When I was young, I was taught that the key to success is to work hard. So it stands to reason that if you aren't having success or want more, that you need to work harder. This simple philosophy works on many things and definitely translates into success. For example, if you want more wood in the woodpile, you need to work harder chopping wood. Or if you want to be a better basketball player, you need to shoot and practice more. However, in some things in life, this principle just doesn't apply, and in fact, the exact opposite is needed for more success. Whitetail hunting is one of those things. So let's define hard work. To start this conversation, we need to take a look at this in the idea of hunting harder when it comes to whitetail deer. I'll be referring to it as putting more time in the woods, namely by sitting in a tree stand or blind. This is what many people think and therefore do. If you're not having success, it means you need to get in the stand more. You often hear people with this mentality saying things like, you can't kill them on the couch, or something like that. The problem is this actually hurts your chances of success most of the time. If this is your operating method, you're not alone. Many hunters practice this and have success from time to time. However, when you're a predator invading a whitetail's domain, the more time spent there means more pressure is added. This just isn't chopping wood or shooting hoops. More time equals more human scent, human sound, human sightings by the deer you're after, and this means less encounters. Research done by DNR biologist Clint McCoy on collared bucks at Auburn University showed that if a stand location is hunted just one time, bucks do not return to normal travel patterns there for 5 days. My experience shows this is true, and oftentimes much worse in heavily pressured states on public land in places like that. Hard work sitting in a stand simply does not make more success. Hey, like this video so far? If you do, I invite you to hit the like button and maybe share it with a buddy who will benefit from it. Also, do you know your deer IQ? Do you think you're deer smart? Why don't you take our deer IQ test and find out? It's fun and easy, and it's linked below. Check it out. 2017 could have been a great year deer hunting for me, but it wasn't. I had many good locations in Michigan on public land that had produced in past years, and 2 great private land locations in Ohio. In fact, several big bucks were showing up in both of my hunting locations in the Buckeye State. I hunted as smart as I could, changing locations, relying on the freshest scouting and deer sign to guide my hunts. In fact, I had 3 great encounters with different Ohio bucks. The problem was, each time I had an encounter, something went wrong and I blew the opportunity. These unfortunate events, and honestly a couple rookie mistakes, educated each buck with each encounter and dwindled my chances. As the season progressed, these close calls added up until I had thoroughly educated each buck. Although a little luck could have easily turned any one of these close calls in my favor, I never got the opportunity to launch an arrow that entire year. The moral, you just can't make mistakes on good bucks and expect to get second chances. With whitetail hunting, therefore, this leaves us with the less is more paradox. And it's simply true. We all know that the first time in a hunting location is usually the best, and data doesn't lie. The collared buck study by Clint McCoy showed this, as well as my experience, and I'm sure yours if you think about it. In my last 5 seasons, 9 out of 11, or 81% of my kills, 8 of them bucks, have been first sits. In reality, less truly means more when it comes to time on stand whitetail hunting. Instead of weighing out a stand in an attempt to bag a good buck, you should be analyzing all your stand options and trying to figure out the exact best times to hunt them. I call this surgical hunting, and I wrote about it for North American Whitetail last year. The problem is that many people just don't have many spots to hunt, and they just can't sit at home during the fall. I get it. On top of that, within a certain property, there may only be a couple places you can hunt in a low impact manner, which makes for burning out a spot pretty quickly. If that's the case, go with the lowest impact stands and make observations to help you hone in on when and where you can make high impact strategic hunts. Another solution is to just have more options. With more options, private or public, you can make better decisions on where and when to hunt and will not wear out any one particular spot. This allows you to spend more time in the woods and get more hunts of potential first sit quality. Realize though that it's not just about being in the woods, and sometimes not being there is your best path to success. Don't get me wrong, you indeed cannot kill them on the couch. You do need to work hard for success. It just looks different than most people think. The secret is that it's the time of hard work you put into preparation, not time on stand, that produces. Gear prep, entry and exit prep, land prep, and scouting by all means in all times of year is the key. If you look at the big buck slayers who get it done on mature bucks every year, their hours hunting pale in comparison to their hours of prep work. Their actual hunt time is minimal. Gathering data by glassing, boots on the ground scouting, and trail camera intel is essential and is the secret ingredient needed for making fact-based hunting decisions with high yield results. Although I don't consider myself a pro, a good example of this is a buck I shot in my backyard in 2020. My 1/4 acre food plot camera was getting pictures of deer all summer and into the fall. A few of these were bucks, but none of them were over 2.5 years old by my estimation, and my goal was a 3.5-year-old. Most of these pictures were also taken at night. As the season progressed, I just wasn't seeing a buck I would shoot show up in daylight, so I hunted my other locations on state land and followed the hottest sign the best I could. In late October, my backyard food plot camera snapped a picture of a mature 10-point with long brow tines that definitely got my attention. However, I still didn't hunt or obsess over him because this too was a late night appearance, making him virtually unshootable. It wasn't until November 7th, when a picture was taken of him at daybreak, that I decided to hunt him immediately and persistently until I had an encounter. The next morning, as luck would have it, I had that encounter and was able to successfully get off a killing shot from my ground blind. I'm convinced it was keeping my presence to a bare minimum and only hunting when intel strongly suggested I should that led to my success. If I had been hunting it hard all year, I highly doubt I would have had such an opportunity, as I most likely would have adversely pressured the plot and drove him far away from the comforts of my backyard. From my experience, less is indeed more when it comes to whitetail hunting, and a myth that definitely needs busting. Now, here are your high IQ takeaways and challenges. Think about and write down one thing you can do to your approach to hunting that helps you move away from the hunt harder mentality and closer to one of being precise, tactical, and smart. Next, download our free Deer IQ journal that steps you through our podcast and curriculum to be a greater hunter below. It's just for this type of thing and will really help. Also, sign up for our newsletter so you don't miss any great and new Deer IQ content. I'll see you on the next Deer IQ video.